Okay.
So
that's
my
good.
husband has flaws.
What are they? Tell me.
I'm going to let him tell you. I'm going to bring him on.
He's gonna
I
bring
can
on
tell
the
you my
podcast.
flaws. I'm impatient. I'm stubborn. I am one of those people that's like very last minute. But then when I'm ready, everybody better be ready. Hello, everyone. How's it going, Kat?
It's good. How's it going with you?
It's good. It's
a great day.
If you can see us right now, which by the way, if you want to ever listen to this podcast ad free, you can watch/listen on my app, Hope and Humor Daily. But if you could see us right now, I'm totally casual. She's wearing my favorite time is nap time shirt.
Which it is.
I kind of feel like we should start doing these in pajamas all the time.
I agree.
Not that this is pajamas, but it's close
well,
enough.
I'm saying we should do it in pajamas
Yeah.
next time.
I mean, I don't know why we're not.
We should be. This is
All
way
right.
off brand
I hope
for
that wherever you're listening to, you are in your pajamas. Even if you're at the
Mm.
grocery store right now, listening to this with your earpods. I hope you're wearing your pajamas. We did an episode, I think we called it Marriage is Hard. I believe it was episode number 5 that was very popular. Lots of listens, where I opened up about a hard time that I went through in a marriage. We talked about why a lot of single women who wanted to be married by choice, didn't feel forced, but wanted to, are now no longer interested because they feel like marriage doesn't look that good when they see marriages around them or what they see on social media. We talked about a little bit of we shared a few tips that have helped us in our marriages. Anyway, a lot of interest in this topic.
Yes.
So I figured today I'm going to share some relationship tips that I've learned along the way. And a lot of these apply to people who are not yet in a committed relationship. Like if you're, just looking to be in one. But then I think a lot of them are for people who already are in a relationship. And I think some of them even apply to being married. And
Great.
you're going to give us
I
brilliant
have
advice.
no idea what you're going to say. I'm so excited.
Well, you've been married way longer than me. Granted, I'm a little bit of an overachiever because I've had 2 marriages. You've
True,
only had
I've only
one.
had one.
Loser. Just kidding.
I forget how long I've been married. Is it like 28 years or something?
I mean,
Might be 29. I don't remember.
it's okay. Perimenopause brain.
Yeah.
So, yeah, any wisdom you want to share?
How long have you been married though?
I've been married. This year is 17 years.
Ooh.
To my second husband and final.
Yes.
So let's start with for people who aren't even in a relationship yet. This is one thing that I think is really important. And by the way, these are some things, even if you are married, these are some things you might want to share with your kids. Like I talk to my kids a lot about this stuff. My son has been with his girlfriend for over 5 years now. It's going to be 6 years this fall.
Wow.
Which is crazy. I don't know when this episode will air, so maybe it will be 6 years by the time this airs. And my daughter has had a few different relationships, not with anyone currently as we're recording this. But even with Ari, my youngest, who's 11, we talk a lot about, if someday, I never want to put pressure on my kids to have a life partner. I think everybody should have a choice.
Sure,
A lot of people are single by choice, and I think that's great. But if you decide to be in a relationship, just making good, healthy choices. So I think this is also good parenting advice, I guess.
Absolutely.
Anyway, one of the things I think is important is to not get into a relationship because you're lonely,
Oh.
but get into a relationship because you're ready. Because I think a lot of times life is hard. And especially if a lot of people around us are dating and we start feeling lonely. I had nothing to do on Friday night. It'd be nice to have a boyfriend, girlfriend. And I just think it's really important to be ready if you actually want to have a healthy relationship.
Absolutely.
I feel a lot of people start dating because they're lonely. And this is where we really have to be honest with ourselves, right? Like, am I wanting to date this person because I'm lonely or because I'm ready?
Sure.
I think that loneliness makes us settle.
Absolutely. And I also feel like I remember when I was younger, before I was married, I felt like being in a relationship validated me. So even if it was a bad relationship, it validated me. So then when we broke up because they weren't a good person or they weren't right for me, it was devastating because my worth was in that.
This is so important, especially for younger. You were young. You're talking about when you were really young.
Right.
And
I was under 21 because I got married at 21.
Yes. I think this is such an important lesson to teach our kids. Mm-hmm. Like when you're in high school and you're starting a date, or when you're in college, whatever, you cannot allow that to become your identity. Mm-hmm. Like your value should not be attached to whether you have a boyfriend, girlfriend or not.
For sure.
That's really important. But I also think that it's not just kids. Like there are a lot of, I went through a divorce. There are a lot of people who, let's say a single mom, mm-hmm. and she's just, it's all about paying the bills and taking care of the kids and everything. And she's lonely. Being a single mom, I remember it's very lonely. Mm. And then we start dating someone because they're there and they're available and they want us, and we lose all common sense. And we're like, well, it'd be nice to have someone. Mm-hmm. Just be nice to have someone at the end of the day. It'd be nice to have someone who cares about me. And we make the decision out of loneliness and we settle. Mm. I see that a lot actually with single parents.
Really?
Yeah. Or even somebody who's not a parent, but is in their 50s, 60s. And is like, I want somebody. Mm-hmm. So ask yourself, and it's hard to be that honest with yourself, right? But like, are you just lonely? Go get a friend, Okay. Next, if you're looking for someone to complete you, you're not ready. So I guess the whole, like, are you lonely or ready? How do you know? If you're looking for someone to complete you, you're not ready. And I know it's such a cute line.
It is, right?
What movie was that? You Complete Me? Jerry Maguire?
Jerry Maguire.
But I feel like that implies that you're not enough. Like, I'm not enough unless I'm in a relationship. And to me, that immediately means you're going to start your relationship in an unhealthy way. Like, you got to feel like I'm enough, and I'm a catch.
Yeah.
Like, I don't need someone.
Yep.
I want someone to share my life with maybe, but I don't need someone to complete me or make me feel like I'm enough. Right. And I don't, to go back to the previous one, I don't need someone to fill my loneliness. I have my friends, I have my hobbies, I have my life. To me, those seem like the healthiest relationships. And you don't have to be in a perfect space. None of us are. But are you secure enough with yourself that you're not like, I am kind of what you mentioned. I have less value if I don't have someone completing me.
Yeah, that's going to set you up for like an anxious sort of attachment to somebody that's not going to be healthy.
Yeah. And also not seeing it as like seeing yourself as a whole person. I don't need another half.
Right.
I need a partner. I need a true partner. Plus, I think it's a lot of pressure to be like, I need someone who's going to complete me. You're going to put a lot of pressure on this person to fill every void in your life.
Right. True.
And that's not fair. Because you're not going to fill their every void either. It's just impossible.
Yeah.
Okay, next. If you feel desperate, these are all kind of on the same theme, but I think they're important.
Yep.
If you feel desperate to be in a relationship, again, not ready. You're not ready. I think we have to be okay with ourselves first.
Sure.
When I was a single mom, and at first I was like, I'm never dating. I'm never getting married. All men suck. Like, I was a very bitter, negative person. What's that chapter called in my first book? It's something, Cynicism Interrupted or something like that. I was very, very cynical. And I wrote how, even though I was a single mom and struggling financially and all that stuff, I didn't feel like I needed someone to rescue me. Like, I think it's really important that we are okay with ourselves and we don't feel like we need a partner to rescue us. And again, back to the single mom thing. And I know that a lot of my listeners are single moms. Like, don't look for someone to rescue you. That's not what you need. You are a badass on your own. Okay. Again, way too much pressure, unhealthy. I just don't feel like it's a good idea. You can rescue yourself. My attitude toward my life, actually, as a single mom, improved before my husband came along. And he was great and helpful in helping me to trust again and all that. But I started liking myself and being okay with myself before he came along.
I feel like that totally happened to me because, as I said, I felt like my worth was tied up in if I was dating someone. And I got to this point where I was like, I don't want to date anybody. I want to be myself and be single. And it was right then when I met my husband, my future husband. I feel like there's something about just being yourself and just saying, I don't need somebody that it almost like, I don't know. What
Well, and
happens?
also
Why
that-
does that happen?
That loneliness or desperation or needing someone to complete you, all that stuff is going to strip away some of your authenticity. Because if you feel like I have to have
Yes.
somebody, you are going to mold yourself to be who you think that man will want you to be. But if you're okay with yourself and you don't need someone to complete you and you feel like a whole person and you're not just looking for someone because you're lonely, you're going to be 100% authentic.
That's
And
it.
if you're 100% authentic, that's the only way to actually get to know someone, right? And really base the relationship on a genuine experience with someone. So I think the theme in these, and then we'll move on to other ones, is for parents raising kids, let's empower them to be the most confident, people who know themselves, who are okay with their weirdness and wackiness, and who have a great group of friends and a great group of hobbies, so that by the time they think about dating, it's not to fill some sort of void.
Right.
But I mean, obviously it's important to raise confident kids, but I think when I think about my kids dating, even more so, I'm like, I want them to be so good with themselves.
Right. I remember my husband telling our daughter, I think she was in a relationship and feeling pressured, and he was like, listen, you are the prize. You don't need to let anybody pressure you to do anything.
Yes.
You're the prize, and just be confident in that.
Yep.
I think that changed her perspective.
Every dad, have this conversation with your kid. I think this is so important. Yeah, I mean, especially because think about it. We usually start dating in our teens, and those are like our worst years. We're so insecure, and and I also think it's really important for parents to not idealize this thing of having a partner. Like,
Sure.
some parents start asking their like 5-year-old, do you have a crush on someone? Do you have a crush on someone? And it's very cute.
Sure.
But I think we start sort of brainwashing kids from a young age that having someone makes you like more complete, more whole.
Sure.
So
or
maybe
you can't be happy until you have someone.
yeah. So maybe let's focus more on building their own confidence and their friend group, making sure that they're really investing in healthy friend groups and hobbies and all that. And if they want to date someone, they'll find someone. But let's not make that the focus of, do you like someone yet? Because I
Right.
do think even unintentionally, we start making kids feel like, oh, I'm not really full, complete. I don't have enough value if I don't have somebody else. All right. Next, dating should not be an episode of Fixer Upper. Everybody know that show? I know we have an international audience, and I don't know if they have that show outside the US, but basically they get a really crappy old house and then they do a bunch of work on it and then it's beautiful. So what I'm saying is don't date a project that you plan on
Definitely no.
changing. And I feel like most humans have been there at some point where they dated a project, especially again, if you are coming from a place of feeling a little desperate or feeling super insecure about yourself, so you settle, you're going to look at certain things and be like, well, he can change. I can get him to start opening up more. Well, I can, he's just a wounded soul and he just needs my love. And then he'll, won't have such a bad temper or,
Right.
or I know he plays video games 24/7, but it's just because he hasn't had a healthy relationship. I'm going to show him what a healthy relationship is. Do not date a project.
Okay, so this is my question with that. Obviously, there's some things. Huge red flags. Don't ignore those.
Yeah.
But nobody's perfect. So I think the other side of that is that you could be looking for somebody who's so perfect that there could be something that you don't that's different than what maybe was in your mind.
Yeah.
But it's not necessarily bad. It's just different. And not everybody's going to be perfect. That's my point. I don't know.
I think the key is, we have to accept no one's going to be perfect. But I think the key is I look at this person and I see their flaws. I got flaws too.
Right.
Can I accept this person as is?
Okay.
So
that's
my
good.
husband has flaws.
What are they? Tell me.
I'm going to let him tell you. I'm going to bring him on.
He's gonna
I
bring
can
on
tell
a
you my
podcast.
flaws. I'm impatient. I'm stubborn. I am one of those people that's like very last minute. But then when I'm ready, everybody better be ready. I mean, I have many. I could go on and on. But my point is, I can look at my husband's flaws and I accept them. Some of them annoy the crap out of me, but I accept them. I'm not trying to change them.
Right.
And that's the key. Like, if you're looking at flaws and you're like, yeah, this is not perfect about this person, but I'm not perfect either. I accept it. They accept me. We're good. That's very different to me than this person has this flaw and I'm going to change it because if I don't change it, I'll never be happy.
Right. Okay.
That's
Right.
the difference. So look at the person as is. You know how like when you're at a store
Yes.
and there's an as is section, meaning take a good look. You buy it, you keep it. There's no return policy, right? Like they're not going to change it for you. They're not going to, that stain that's on that shirt at the thrift store, they're not going to remove it for you. You're not going to be able to remove it. If you're taking it, you're taking it as is. I think that's the way you pick something as is. And you can't complain about it later, right? Like you can't pick a as is shirt and then go back to the store and be like, I don't like the fact that it has a stain. Well, it already had a stain on it. You took it. Bye. Get out of here. Don't come back. So same thing. Like, can you accept the person as is?
That's a good way to look at it.
Even if you think like, no, but this person has potential. Great. Let them figure that out in therapy aside from you and then date them in a year from now after they've grown. But you should not be their therapist, their mother,
Right. No.
and their person that's trying to remove that stain.
Absolutely.
But yes, also, as Kat said, if you're looking for someone perfect,
Good luck.
why don't you look in the mirror and see if you are? Because you're not. I'm definitely not.
Right. Me neither.
Next, whether looking for a partner or navigating a relationship that you are already in. So this is for single people and people who are in a relationship. Don't allow your insecurities to call the shots.
Okay.
They're not qualified for that job.
Great.
Okay. I think a lot of times we humans give our insecurities jobs they're not qualified for. I think when choosing to someone to get into a relationship with, or even choosing how to navigate things in a relationship we are already in, don't allow the most hurt parts of yourself to choose. Choose with the healthiest parts of yourself.
And give me an example of that.
So a good example, actually, and this is especially if you're a single parent, watch my video called Don't Settle. When I was a single mom, it would have been very easy for me to go, meet someone who was great. And I actually did go on some dates before I met my husband and go, oh my gosh, this guy is into me, even though I'm a single mom. This guy is into me and is like loves me even though I'm broke and have all these financial issues. This guy's into me even though I have all this stress with my ex-husband. Oh my gosh, this guy's into me even though I've had 2 kids and I have extra skin on my belly and stretch marks and I have cellulite. Oh my gosh, like he loves me even though I this, even though I that. If you are using even though multiple times, you are letting your insecurities call the shots, right?
Yeah.
Even though all this stuff about me is wrong, he loves me. That's the problem. That's not me choosing with the healthiest parts of myself. That's not me going, I have a lot to offer. Right? So and it happens in marriages too, right? We let our insecurities dominate how we speak to our spouse. How many times do we bring our own insecurities into an argument and then the argument is not productive because our insecurities are talking? Or sometimes we create trust issues that shouldn't even be there because we're insecure, like there's no evidence of anything, but it's like, who are you talking to? Did you look at her? Did you, those are all, that's not about if the guy's giving no evidence that he's cheating or doing anything, this is our own insecurities.
Sure.
So how do we make a decision? I'm not going to make these choices in my life, whether it's who I'm going to date or how I'm going to treat the person I'm with the most hurt parts of myself, the painful parts of myself, the stuff I need to heal. How do I make those decisions out of the healthiest parts of me? And that's something we have to be honest about. And I think a lot of us that have been through a lot of crap in our life probably need to talk to a professional and work through some of those things. But I think that's so big. And I think so many people end up in really, really bad, sometimes dangerous relationships because they're letting their insecurities call the shots. Or they ruin a perfectly great marriage because they're allowing their insecurities to call shots. And that's the one thing we all have, our insecurities. And the one thing we all have to work on daily is, can I not give my insecurities jobs my insecurities are not qualified for?
Yeah.
And I've given my insecurities way too many jobs they're not qualified for. We actually I was going to talk about trust.
Yes.
But then I noticed that we have a question. So we're going to play it. By the way, if you ever want to leave us a voicemail with a question that we can play during one of the episodes, you can call 855-912-4175. Are you ready?
Yep. Ready?
Hi, Christina. I don't know if you've covered this topic before. Maybe you have. How do you learn to trust again? So, for example, I'm a divorced mother of 3, and my ex-husband walked out on me. He had someone else. So I'm wondering how and what strategies did you use to help you learn to trust again, to be able to date again? Thank you. Bye.
Oh, gosh. Okay. If this woman is listening and she has not read my first book, message me on Instagram. I get too many messages and I don't see them all. So you're going to have to start the message with, "You promised me a book," in all caps. And I'm going to grab my book actually and read from it in a second. But here's what I learned when I was dating after marriage, because I get it. After you go through divorce,
Yes.
whether there was cheating or whether it was just, in my case, it was just not trusting that I would be able to be treated a certain way. It was not trusting that I was worthy of that kind of love. So that was my insecurities coming in. It was not trusting that there is such a thing as a healthy relationship. It was a lot of, well, he seems nice now, but is it just a trick? Is it just an act? Is he going to change any second? I learned to pay attention to whether a behavior is a pattern or an event, and to trust patterns.
Okay, this is my question. Because I know people who have been in a dating relationship with someone and the guy is a certain way and he seems great and perfect, and then they get married and it seems like things changed. What do you do?
What do you mean? What do you do after it's already too
I'm
late?
just saying, how do you know that they're not going to change? That would be like super scary.
Yeah, I think people need to make sure that they are not rushing to get engaged or married.
True.
Because I don't think you can really get to know I know some people are like, well, we've been married for 50 happy years and we dated for 2 days and then went to Vegas, and great. But that is an exception. That is not. So over a longer period of time, those things are going to come out. And you just need to choose to be honest and not ignore red flags.
The friend who I'm talking about in particular said, in retrospect, there were some red flags, but we were already engaged. And so it was like I didn't want to not get married.
So in a previous episode, we talked about how I'm a big fan of pre-engagement therapy instead of premarital therapy, because after people are engaged, they're already so excited about the wedding that if a therapist in a counseling session brings up, hey, this is an issue, or I'm seeing a pattern here or something, they're gonna be like, okay, we'll work it out because we already have the dress and the venue picked out and I don't want to cancel the wedding. So pre-engagement therapy, especially if you are unsure and you're worried about that, settle it, like go to therapy. A therapist might notice some things or might, validate the things that you're like, well, that's not a red flag. That's a pink flag, right? Might validate you in a way where you can really look at it realistically. And then you don't be, again, back to the beginning of this, don't be so desperate for a relationship that you're willing to ignore red flags. Okay, so in my first book, Hold On But Don't Hold Still, I wrote about dating after divorce and all that. And I wrote, here's something I learned along the way. Pay attention to whether behavior is a pattern or an event. We all have really bad days and we all do stupid things and hurt people. We just do. And if what's getting under your skin is a negative event, meaning the behavior is out of character, then dip into your supply of grace and understanding, talk it out and let it go. It's what you'd want in return. But if what's causing your pain is part of a negative pattern, if it's something that keeps happening and no effort is put toward remedying the behavior, well, then you have a pretty grim decision to make. Stay or walk away. Walk away. So the pattern, and by the way, we're not just paying attention to patterns of like, bad things. Like, well, he wasn't completely honest with me. And then you find out, well, he's not honest again. And that's pattern. I also think we should pay attention to whether something is a pattern or event when it comes to good things, right? Like, he's really thoughtful. Was it like, because this is what happens. Somebody's in an unhealthy relationship and they're thinking about like, oh gosh, this is so unhealthy and he's so mean. But that one time when he surprised me with a helicopter ride to this thing, and he spent all this money, and he was so thoughtful, and he had my grandmother send a thing, and like all the work that went into the, and you're literally dwelling on the one time he was thoughtful, right?
Right.
Is the thoughtfulness, the kindness, the way he communicates, the way he handles arguments, is the good stuff also a pattern? Because if
right.
it's an event, well, everybody can have a good day.
Sure.
I mean, the amount of stories I've heard just from my followers alone of leaving an abusive marriage and saying the reason I stayed so long is because we had good days.
Right.
These are women who were beaten.
Oh, God.
Beaten. And I'm trying to share a story from someone I actually personally know without giving too many details.
Sure.
I have a friend who ended up with a black eye when she was 8 months pregnant.
Oh, my gosh.
And when I was talking to her on the phone about this and trying to get her to leave, and this was not the first time, by the way, so pattern, what she said to me was, I know that he's struggling, but oh my gosh, do you know what he did for me last month? And she goes on to tell me about this beautiful surprise he did for her.
Did it have a helicopter involved?
No. But I think a lot of women in abusive relationships can relate to this, right?
Yeah.
By the way, an abuser is going to do that. He's going to be a monster,
Yes.
and then he's going to make up for it by buying you a Cadillac or,
Right.
doing something really sweet so that you can get distracted. What is the pattern though? Even that's a great pattern to pay attention to. He's awful, and then the only time he's kind is when he wants to make sure I still stick around so he can
Right.
control me. So I think in anything, and this, by the way, this isn't just for relationships. If you have an employee, you have a small business and you're trying to figure out where you can trust an employee. If you are building a new friendship, whatever it is, pay attention to whether the negative or positive behavior is a pattern or an event. And what I noticed when I was a single mom and I was dating Philip is the pattern with him was he was consistent, he showed up, he was kind, he handled arguments in such a kind way. I had been in relationships before him where if there was an argument, it got mean. It just always got mean. There was going to be a put down, or it was either mean in the words that were spoken to me, or it was mean, cruel in, I'm just not going to talk to you for 2 days
Right.
now. And with Philip, the pattern was when we got into any sort of disagreement or argument, respect. He could be upset with me and do it in a respectful way. So just paying attention to those patterns. And the events that I was like, I don't like that, they were events. And not only were they events, meaning it happened once that, maybe he was selfish or whatever, something we all are. But also he followed that up with complete accountability and going, I don't like the way I handled that, Christina. I heard that just gave me an awful feeling and I couldn't sleep last night. And I just wanted to call you and say, I didn't think that was fair to you. And I just want to apologize. And then I noticed that was a pattern, that he was so quick to work on himself and grow. And now 17 years into the marriage, he's still like that. So pattern.
Love that.
And also, we got to make sure we're delivering the same. Like,
Right.
what are we given in this, right? Is our pattern to handle those disagreements, arguments in a respectful way? Is our pattern to, not allow our insecurities to dictate how we treat someone? Is our pattern to be honest and trustworthy and faithful and all that stuff?
Yes.
All right. That leads perfectly into the next one. Find someone that will grow with you, not someone you'll need to raise.
Ooh.
If you want to raise someone, have children. Have a bunch of children. If you want to date or marry someone, pick someone who is at the same maturity level as you. I think we all, and I know it's an ongoing funny joke, and it's in sitcoms and it's in social media, cute little reel videos, and everywhere, the whole idea of a woman saying, I have 3 kids. Well, actually, my husband is a 4th.
Right.
And fine. It's an ongoing joke.
Right.
Personally, not one of my favorites, to be honest, for many reasons. I always mention one of the reasons I don't like that joke is because I have 2 sons who someday, if they decide to get married and if they have children, I would never want society to look at them, for them to feel that they are less than, they can't be as good of a home taker or a father because they're male, right? So I don't love that. For me, I get that it's a joke. For me personally, not one of my favorites.
Right.
But I also think jokes come from some truth.
Sure.
And I do feel that a lot of women, and maybe even a lot of women listening right now, have felt, my husband is just a child. And, you know, I have to micromanage him. And if I leave him alone with the kid, I have to tell him things like I tell a teenage babysitter, like make sure this is done. And so I do think some of it comes from truth. And if you are not in a marriage yet and you're dating, make sure that you marry someone that you don't feel like you have to raise, that you don't look at as you're the parent, they're the child, because I think it's going to be really hard to have genuine respect.
Right.
Like, I respect my children, but it's a very different type of respect than I respect my husband, right? Like, with my children, they still need my guidance and they still need me to, you know, teach them things. With my husband, I don't want to feel like I have to parent him.
Right.
And by the way, if you don't have true respect for your partner, it's also going to affect your sex life.
Oh, yeah.
I don't remember where I heard this, and I don't know if it was real research or if it was somebody just guessing, but I read somewhere years ago, I'm talking like over 10 years ago, something about how marriages when one partner feels like they're the parent or like the other partner is a child, that their sex lives of those couples is way worse, less frequent, less enjoyable. The quality, the quantity is less. And again, I have no idea if this is real research or somebody just pulled this out of their butt, but it makes sense to me, right? Like, you're gonna have better sex if you actually respect your partner.
And treat
fully.
them respectfully, too.
Yes.
I think there's a lot of people that think they have to parent their husband, maybe because society says so.
Yeah.
But they think, I've got to tell him how to do this with the kids while I'm gone.
Yeah.
And if he doesn't do it the way that I want him to do it, that it's incorrect and wrong and,
Yeah.
you know, when they can parent differently than you and that's okay.
Yes. And I think that's where we have to also be honest with each other. Do you feel like you're parenting, like you have another child because you're a control freak
Right?
and you're the problem? Like, is he actually a really great dad and he can take care of the house and everything and it'll just be different than you and you're just a control freak? Or is he actually
An immature child.
a child, which we've talked about this because we both have daughters and son. Well, I have a daughter, you have two daughters, and we both have two boys. We've talked about, like, let's make sure we also raise men who their wives will never look at them as
Right?
children, right?
Yes.
I would hope that this has changed, but back in the day, girls were taught how to cook and boys were not, you know?
Right.
And then it was like, well, I have to be his mom and cook every meal for him, right?
Right.
Because they were never raised how to do it. Or even, and this is still a thing, I think, in a lot of families don't like their boys playing with dolls.
Right.
But girls can
Sure,
play with
sure.
dolls. And let's just be honest. What is playing with dolls? What is it? It's pretending to be a parent. That's why girls play with dolls. They're pretending to be the mom of the baby.
Right.
But a lot of families still are like, my son's not going to play with dolls.
Right.
Well, if he wants to pretend to be a dad, what a great opportunity for you as a parent to go, let's play with that. Okay, I'll be the grandparent. And how do you feed your child?
Sure.
That's not going to hurt the boy.
No, definitely not. Our son Elliot, who's 6, I think he just turned 6, but as a young kid, when you asked him, what do you want to be when you grow up? He would say a dad.
Oh,
And so he did have a doll, and my daughter even bought him like a stroller for his birthday one time to go with his doll, and he would play with it.
and he's going to
And I think that's great. He's going to be an awesome dad.
Yeah, so anyone listening to this who's like, well, I don't want my son playing. I feel like I hear it more from men too. And I'm like, you got your own insecurities to deal with here, buddy. Do you want your son to be a dad someday?
And to be a good dad?
Yeah. Why not nurture that part of him?
Sure.
I just think it's weird.
And I
to
don't
me,
think
that's always
it's-
been weird.
It's, you know, he plays with it sometimes, but it's just the heart of that. And I wanted
Yes.
to respect that
Yes.
heart. And I love that.
I
about him.
literally never understood. Somebody please, if you disagree with this, can you please email me and explain to me why you think that a boy playing with a doll pretending to be a father is bad? By the way, these same people are the ones that are like, fathers don't get enough respect. Okay, well, Anyway, email me. I'd love to hear your perspective. I will completely disagree with it. Just kidding. I'll be open. But I'll disagree with it. I think, so yeah, being able to, if you're getting married in your 20s, 30s, even 40s, by the time you're dead, hopefully you'll live a long life, you're going to change and you're going to grow. So finding someone that you can grow with together instead of feeling like you need to raise them, I think that's the key to a healthy relationship. And also, there are going to be times in a marriage where one person is growing more
Sure.
and other person is growing more. And, we can lift each other up and
Sure.
call each other out and hold each other accountable and challenge each other intellectually and all that stuff. But just if you see that person as a kid or, oh my gosh, what an incompetent, whatever, or I just don't like, why would you even be attracted to that?
Right.
Okay. We kind of covered this a little bit in the marriage episode we did, but marriage or any long-term relationship should be looked at as a business. And I said in that episode that I think romance is important. I love, it, like, my friends are like vomiting over the stories of like, Philip and I will go on our first dates all the time, which is a whole nother story. And
Yes.
like, he does these cute little things and I do these cute little things I think that's important, at least for us. We like that. Some couples are not into it. I think sex is very important.
Yes.
But let's be honest, day in, day out, our lives are like a business.
Yes.
Especially once you have children.
Yes.
The bills, the schedules, all of it, right? And so I have always told my kids, this is for everybody, if you wouldn't trust someone enough, and if you wouldn't feel completely comfortable starting a business with them, don't marry them.
Yeah.
Like, I just think this is so many people. I've actually heard people go, I would never go into business with my husband. Like, he's to this and he's to that. And okay, well, marriage is kind of like business. And I think also, if you think of it that way, it will hold you accountable when you're dating. Do I trust this person so much that I would trust them completely with the finances of our business? Would I trust them to show up to every meeting professionally? Would I trust them to be prepared? Do I feel comfortable with them, in any group setting? It kind of, because it is easy when you're dating to get sucked into the romance part of it and not think about the practical stuff. So I think it's a good way to look at things.
Sure. I mean, the only thing is, like, I do know couples where one person is really good with numbers and the other person is not.
But that's a great business to get into because you both have strengths, right?
Great. Okay, good.
Yeah.
Because you said, well, do you want to marry somebody who you don't trust with your finances? Well, they may not be great at doing the numbers.
Well, perfect. Here's an example from my marriage. My husband, as a career, his job is a certified public accountant, CPA.
Yes.
He is the numbers guy.
Yes.
He is the money guy. I don't do that. But the reason we work well together, we don't have a business together, but if our marriage is a business,
Right.
is that he trusts me with our money as far as like how I'm going to spend it, that I'm not going to overspend, that I'm not going to
Gotcha.
make stupid financial decisions, or that I'm not going to lie to him about what's
Right.
coming in on my end. So it's that kind of thing,
Yes.
right? You're starting a business with someone, you probably don't want someone exactly like you.
True.
You want
No.
someone who has other strengths
Yeah.
to complement yours, which is also important in a marriage, right? You don't need to be the same person. But there has to be that trust. And how many marriages fall apart? Isn't money stuff one of the number one
Yes.
reasons for divorce?
Yeah.
Why? Because there's not clear communication, probably. Somebody's doing something behind somebody's back. Somebody's either gambling or overspending
They're
or
not
something.
being honest.
Right. They're not budgeting together well. This is all stuff that if you had a business partner, you'd have to do, right? Okay. And I know I've mentioned this before, and I'm going to keep mentioning because I think it's so important. Once you get married, remember that the search for love isn't over. I think a lot of times people find the one, quote unquote, and then they're like, that's it. The search is over because I searched for the person I want to spend the rest of my life and I found them. No. Getting married doesn't mean that the search for love is over. The search for the person to love is over. The search for how to love that person has just begun. And I think if every single couple woke up every morning and went, how can I best love my spouse today? Not the way I think I would want to be loved, but like knowing them, like how can I best love them today is so beautiful. One of the things I spoke how when I was supporting my son through his mental health struggles, I started asking him every day, how can I best support you today? And I actually just sent him that text this morning because he's going through a hard time right now. But I started asking him that. That was not something I invented. That came from Philip asking me that almost every day. He still does in our marriage. He doesn't say, I've used the word support with Luca. He'll say, what can I do for you today? Is there anything I can do for you today? Is there anything I can do to make your day easier today?
Yeah, my husband sometimes says, how can I show you that I love you today?
Oh,
And I always have the same answer. Give me a back rub.
that's a good one.
Isn't
That
it,
is a
though?
good way to receive
know.
love. So can you imagine if every couple, like that was their goal for the day?
Sure.
Is yes, I
Yes.
have my job and we have kids and we're busy. But through all of that, how can I best support my spouse? How can I best love my spouse?
That's so good.
Okay, I'm going to end by reading you something from my second book that I wrote after this was in the book I shared about a hard time my husband and I went through when my oldest son was struggling and we were living under a lot of stress and we just became roommates and just didn't have the kind of marriage I wanted or he wanted. And then we healed. And again, listen to that episode. I think it's called Marriage is Hard if you want to hear the whole story. But I want to read this part. I no longer believe in falling in love. Falling doesn't require much effort. And maybe that's the appeal. I believe in building love. And that's, again, back to like, we talk a lot in this podcast about our control issues. Like falling in love seems so out of our control. I just fell in love. And it's a poetic way to say it, right? But if you think of it as building love, like that's something we can control. How do we
Sure.
build? And also choosing to never stop building, right? You've been married for 40, 50 years. How can I continue to build on this? Like, it's great. It's awesome. Great. Let's keep building and make it even better. Like that challenge of almost picturing creating something and something that can never be done, right? Continuing to create it, continuing to build it, I think is sort of the key to having a fulfilled marriage. Not just a good marriage, but a fulfilling marriage.
For sure. I've always said that the trick to having a long marriage and being married for a long time is that you sort of grow together. And I think that goes with your idea of building something. Not saying you guys have to do the same things and both take up pickleball or whatever, but that you're willing to you're willing to let them change and they're willing to let you change.
Yeah.
And kind of grow together in that way.
And when you're building something, like let's say you're building a home, you're looking at things that, oh, this isn't going to work. The foundation's off. We got to fix it. Or
sure.
these windows don't fit right. Or we measured incorrectly. Or
Right.
And so if you really think of all of those ways, all of those things that require us to build something beautiful, of really assessing all the details and fixing the things that went wrong
Sure.
and going, well, that worked for us then, but it doesn't work for us now.
Right.
You know, I've heard people say how after something really hard, a hard time,
Right.
where they'll say, well, that marriage is over. That marriage is over. We're still married to the same people, but that marriage is over. We got to build a new one now. What's this new marriage look like? Especially I've heard people say that if there's an affair, for example, and they choose to stay, that marriage is over. Let's start from scratch. How do we build something new and better where we're both much better to each other? And we got to start, the trust has to start from the beginning, right? By the way, this is not telling anybody who's gone through an affair to stay or leave. That's none of my business. That's your business. But there are times in our life where we might have to go, okay, that was that marriage for us. Let's build a new marriage.
Sure.
Let's just like, if we're using the analogy of building a house, that was a good house for us for that time. We need something different in our life now. We need a bigger house, a different, like whatever it is, right? we can do that with a marriage too. And if you're married for 50, 60 years, you might have to do that.
For
And
sure.
that's okay.
Probably multiple times.
Yeah. And I don't see that as like a bad thing. It's how
Yeah.
incredible and beautiful that you can build something new from scratch. If what was there maybe was beautiful for some time and then was broken, we have an opportunity to build something new.
But I also think having kids makes you build something new in
Yep.
a way, you know? I'm sure the loss of a kid or
Yes.
or the loss of somebody important would also make you maybe have to,
Yeah.
you know,
Or one spouse
rebuild.
getting really sick.
Sure.
Your marriage is not gonna look the same. And it's like we've talked in another episode about accepting what is, right? Going, okay, this is the circumstance now. My spouse is bedridden or whatever. Instead of pining of, oh, well, it used to be so, this
Sure.
and that. What is the new marriage we can build now with what we have instead of fighting it and just being sad all the time that it's not what it was? Let's build something new and let's make it really fun and beautiful and full of joy and love.
Yeah, maybe we don't have to look at it so negatively.
Yeah.
That it can be a great thing.
So whether you are dating or married or parenting someone you're trying to guide into making healthy relationship choices, we love you. We hope this was helpful. If you ever want to leave us a voicemail, again, our number is 855-912-4175. If you like this podcast, rate it. If you don't rate it. And if you want daily support, you can check out my app, Hope and Humor Daily. And we love you all. Go ask your partner, how can I best support you today? How can I, what does your husband say?
How can I show you love today?
I want everybody to do that as soon as they get off the spot. If you're not in the same building as your spouse or partner, text them or call them. It will make their day.
Yeah, for sure.
Please. I'm going to do that for my husband right
Let's
now.
do it
Grab
right
my
now.
phone. Okay.
Okay,
Bye.
bye.